Well, hello! Welcome back to my channel. Just Shauna here to talk about a friggin' book. The book in question, which you already know, I don't know why I act like, oh, this is a big fucking surprise. The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood. And I'm gonna put this bitch up here. First, I'm gonna read the synopsis, because I suck at synopsis, like coming up with them, like Jesus fucking Christ. This is adult fantasy, well, kind of new adult, honestly. Like, she's like 18 to 21, I wanna say, like somewhere in there. Anyways, what if you knew how and when you will die? Kasorwe does. She will climb the mountain, enter the shrine of the unspoken, and gain the most honored title, sacrifice. But on the day of her foretold death, a powerful mage offers her a new fate. Leave with him and live. Turn away from her destiny and her god to become a thief, a spy, and assassin. The wizard's loyal sword. Topple an empire and help him reclaim his seat of power. But Kasorwe will soon learn, gods remember, and if you live long enough, all debts come due. Bam. And we have like portal worlds in this book. Oh, I'll show you the map. There are also pronunciation guides, which are delightful because the names in here are very difficult. But yeah, here's the map. So you can see like each like kind of piece of paper looking thing is one of the like worlds. And there's different gates to like get to these different worlds. Obviously there's gods and goddesses, and they are a real thing in this world, and real power can come from them. There are mages, wizards, people who do magic shit. And yeah, our main character is Kasorwe. She's basically a sacrificial lamb that gets a chance to live rather than be sacrificed to her god. And yeah, when I talked about this in my recent wrap-up, I didn't dislike it. My expectations were like way up high. I mean, I bought the fucking book because I couldn't get it from the library because of all, you know, this stuff happening in the world. And they didn't have an ebook copy, I don't think. And so I just, instead of buying an ebook copy, I bought a physical copy. And that's just always a bad idea for me, apparently. Because yeah, I was a little disappointed. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't like it as much as I expected to. The first 25% of the book was off to a nice start. We see her when she is a child, 14 years old. We kind of hear about her life up till this point. She's very coddled. She's raised in this church by these like essentially like nuns, these priestesses. She's very coddled. She is revered. She's treated essentially like a little princess, you know, like she just, whatever she needs, and they take care of her. And she's supposed to be kept very pure until this sacrificial day. And so then, yeah, we see her kind of dealing with when she goes with the mage instead, and his name is Belthandros. She goes with Belthandros, and she's kind of grappling with, you know, am I just a huge traitor? I just betrayed my god. I betrayed my whole religion, all my beliefs. Like, am I terrible for throwing my beliefs away? Or were my beliefs kind of bullshit? Like, she's dealing with all of that. And that was kind of interesting and cool to see. And then we see her initial, like, being out in the world, like, which she's never fucking been. Like, even in her own little country and land, she never got out of, like, the temple, you know? So we see her kind of learning about the world, and that's pretty cool. And then we see the beginning of her, like, training. We don't, well, I wouldn't say we see it. We don't get any examples of her actually doing any training, which I'm pretty okay with. You know, I don't like incessant training sequences, but we didn't get any of it. It was just referenced that, like, oh, she's training now. And then she goes on one little adventure with him. Like, we jump ahead a little bit. She's been trained a bit, but never put her training into action. They go on a little adventure. She gets to put some of her training into action. And Belthandros has, like it said, his seat of power. He's trying to get back into his home world and basically get his power and authority back. Then we jump ahead 5 fucking years after that adventure, and she's now his loyal sword. But it kind of threw me off a bit how we just skipped over all of these years, and then it's just referenced how she's his spy and assassin and loyal sword. Like, it was such a big part of the synopsis where I thought, like, we're gonna get to see a bunch of this stuff and her being an assassin and her being a spy. No, we're just like, oh, these past 5 years she's been a spy for him. These past 5 years she's been like a great swordswoman and like his loyal sword and an assassin. But okay, I didn't get to see any of it. I kind of wanted to, you know? And then there's just the whole middle 50% of the book, I felt like dragged on forever. And I think for me, it was mostly just because it's so plot driven and I didn't get to know the characters as well as I would have wanted to. And even what I did get to know of them, I didn't connect with them that much. I didn't vibe with them that much. And there's this part where we're in a precursor world. It's basically a dead world now. It's like whatever from ages ago. And there's this whole part in the middle where we're in this precursor world forever. And all of those chapters, oh, I don't know why, they just went on forever. That whole bit, it was like we were ramping up for things to happen, but like the first part of the book had already happened, like the ramp up part. We jumped ahead 5 years and then we're just like stuck here for a good while. And then the final 25%, like things started picking up fucking finally. But then I felt like I called it this in my wrap up, like it was like a pinball plot. A pinball machine plot where we're just like, we're here, then we're here, then we're over there, then we're over there, and now we're over here. And these two people are trying to get together, and now they get separated again. And okay, now we're back over here. And we gotta go back to this other place that we were before with this other character that we were before in this other place, but now they're going with us to this place. And now we're back together with that other character, but then they get ripped apart again. And oh my God. And I was getting like whiplash, and holy fuck, it just was not for me. If you really like very plot-driven, adventurous shit like this, you will probably love this book, especially the last like 25% to 50%. You'll probably be like, holy shit, this is the time of my life. But for me, it wasn't the business. And yeah, when I was talking about the characters, there's one character who kind of annoyed me. So it's this guy named Tal. And I won't give spoilers about like who he is or how he comes to be, whatever, but he does have interactions with Kasorwe, and their interactions I enjoyed. They have a very like bickering sibling dynamic, and they kind of hate each other. Like they're kind of enemies, but they have to work together a lot, so they're like frenemies, you know? And it's not like an enemies to lovers. They're genuinely just like frenemies. And I liked that dynamic, but Tao on his own was so fucking annoying. Oh my Jesus. Like throwing temper tantrums, like going into corners and going into rooms by himself to like kick stuff and punch holes in walls and like meh. And that I just have an aversion to. He was just like, he's a grown-ass man acting like a petulant, immature teenage boy. At one point, this only happens once, but it just annoyed the ever-loving fuck out of me. He's like copycat mocking Kasorwe. Like she says something and he's like, like repeating what she said in this like mocking tone. And I was like, are we 10 years old? Like, what in the hell, dude? And like I said, sometimes he was charming and likable, but it was mostly when he was interacting with Kasorwe where I was like, oh, they're funny, they're cute, they're silly. Like, they kind of like each other, but they kind of don't, or they're just kind of used to each other, and they kind of hate each other. Like, I liked that. But yeah, him on his own was, ugh. I did enjoy the writing of this book. I really liked this quote. Towards the beginning, Belthandros is talking to Kasorwe, and like I said, she's out in the world for the first time, like, kind of scared of stuff. And Belthandros tells her, nothing in this world has earned the power to frighten you, Kasorwe. You have looked your foretold death in the face and turned from it in defiance. Nothing in this world or any other deserves your fear. And I really liked that line. I was like, hell yeah, man. That's some like motivational shit right there. And she like uses that later to like remind herself. And the writing sometimes was like pretty funny, like pretty humorous. And I enjoy that type of like an authorial voice. Right here, She's scared of something just a little bit after this quote, and she's trying to like remind herself of like what Belthandros told her, and just to like ramp up, you know. And it's literally she's going out on her own in this little town that they're in, like to buy some groceries at the marketplace. But she's literally never, like I said, she's never been outside of this temple alone. And now like she's with Belthandros and she's never been like away from him in this city that they're in. So she's just trying to work up her courage to like go out to the marketplace by herself. And it says, nothing in this world or any other deserved her fear. That was all very well, but there was a great difference between climbing the steps to the Shrine of the Unspoken and going out to buy groceries. Kosorwe had spent a lifetime readying herself to die, not to talk to strangers. And I thought that was fucking hilarious. And then sometimes the writing like was really, like the descriptions, I thought they worked really well for me. Here it says, he smiled at last. It was an immediate relief. The tension went out of Kosorwe's body like tea leaves uncurling in water. Funny shit again. Kosorwe hears like noises happening in a room. No further sobbing followed, but there was a pause, then a series of thuds and thumps, as of somebody kicking the shit out of a crate of melons. She opened the door. Inside, Tal was kicking the shit out of a crate of melons. And that's fucking funny, you know? So yeah, the writing style was pretty jazzy. I did appreciate that. And I'm sort of curious about what happens to the characters, but also sort of not. I don't know. I'm gonna let some time pass. I might continue the series when the rest of it comes out, but I also might not. Because, like I said, the writing style was pretty good, but I don't know if it needed more editing or what, or if I just didn't like that whole sequence in the middle. It just didn't work for me personally, so it just like bored me kind of. It didn't bore me. It just, like I said, it felt like it dragged on forever. I would pick up the book like, fuck, we're still here. And read a little and like, we're still here, and we're still here, and we're still here. Holy shit, why are we still here? It's like, it felt like there was no middle ground. We were either in one place forever, doing this one kind of quest forever, or we were bouncing around like all fucking crazy. So it just like wasn't consistent. The pacing didn't feel consistent, and that doesn't ever work for me when I don't feel like the pacing is consistent. But again, it wasn't a bad book. I didn't dislike the book. There were some things about it that I quite enjoyed. So it ended up kind of evening itself out. On my 1 to 10, I gave this a 6, which translates to 3 pushinicorns. Very middle of the road. Not bad. Not bad at all. If that sounds fun to you, the general premise of it, and a lot of adventure and plot stuff happening, like I said, you'll probably really, really enjoy this book. That is all. If you have read this, let me know what your thoughts were down below. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.